I'm Bob. I like coffee. I also like to tell stories. So here at the Bobcast Coffee, it's time for a coffee break. So take a coffee break with me and pour yourself a cup of your favorite Joe. By the time you're done with your coffee, you'll know something about me you really didn't need to know. But you'll have fun learning it. Just remember, my stories are true. For the most part.
This episode was brought to you by JM Insurance. JM Insurance. Do you have business, personal, or life insurance yet? Contact JM Insurance Agency to understand the benefits of insuring against the unforeseen circumstances of life. We have over 40 years of experience in the business and will guide with the best probable choice for your situation. Call us for more information at 405-353-0140 or visit our website at jminsurance.agency.
Notice I'm drinking out of the Buc-ee's cup again. You're going to see a lot of repeats because Linda and I have decided not to buy more coffee cups until we build more shelves to hold the coffee cups because we are out of room. So, well, Buc-ee's does work. It's a great size cup and it holds good coffee. After the podcast, I think I'm going to be taking a look at a different coffee. And we'll be reviewing a second coffee. Understand it is just my personal tastes, what I like and don't like, and it may not be yours, but that's okay. It's America. It's still America, or wherever you happen to be. And it is okay to like different kinds of coffee. All right, so today we are going to talk about The Other Bob. The Other Bob is a gentleman by the name of Bob Oltmann. And Bob and Arlene Oltmann were a couple in Southern California that when Shan got married, Shan being my roommate, buddy, pal, you've seen him on the podcast. Anyway, so Shan got married and he married Bob's daughter, Bob and Arlene's daughter. And so Shan's going to be moving out and left me stuck with a roommate that I wasn't real sure about. So I decided I'd move out too. And I found that Bob and Arlene would rent rooms in their home to students. Well, they made an exception, let me come in. And I was with them for a year and a half, and it was a fabulous time. Fabulous year and a half. So what happened was Bob inadvertently became a mentor to me. And it took time, but a lot of his ideas and the way he treated people slowly started to rub off on me. And I'm very, very happy about it. In fact, when I finally got married to my lovely Linda, Bob and Arlene became the mentor couple that we tried to emulate a lot of. They're fabulous people. And you could do a lot worse, trying to emulate somebody else. So, Bob and Arlene, wonderful, wonderful people. So, what does Bob have to do with this Bob and the fact of stories of my life? Well, Bob Oltmann was a great storyteller. Incredible storyteller. But there's one story that has baffled us, and I've come to a conclusion on it. So, Bob passed away, and month ago, they had a memorial for him and back in California, and I could not go. So once my buddy Shan and his family and everybody was up there, and they were all sitting around one night talking, and I was texting back and forth to Shan, and I asked him about the chair. And I wanted to get details on the story that I had so that I could, make the most truthful, honest story that I could. Okay, so Shan goes, I roughly tell him the story, that it's about this chair that Bob found and ended up in his museum, and then, I wanted to know what happened to it after the museum closed. Shan goes, that's not the way I heard the story at all. He has a totally different take of the story. I said, well, let's find out, ask around, and come to find out everybody has a different take on the story that Bob told about how he came across this chair. So this is the story that I heard. I heard that Bob and Arlene are coming back from this fancy little dinner or party or whatever, and they're coming home and they're in her car, and it's a fancy car, and they're driving along, and someone in their neighborhood has put out trash for the trash company to pick up, and Bob slows down, and Arlene gets cranky when he does that because he likes to find treasures in the trash. Now understand, Bob Altman partner in a very large mini storage company, and they got huge property in Pasadena. They've got property downtown LA. They've got property all over the place, and it makes them decent money. He doesn't need to pull things out of the trash. Bob loves to find the treasure. And Arlene, no, you're not going to put anything in my car. No. Bob goes, okay. So they drive home. And Arlene gets out of the car, and Bob gets out of the car, and Arlene goes into the house, and Bob goes into his truck, and he drives back and pulls this chair out of the trash. It's a unique looking chair. And Bob cleans it up, and he puts it on the second story landing between the bedrooms that are up there. Years later, here comes myself, Bob, and I rent a room from them for a while. And I'm in one bedroom, and they had another gentleman in the bedroom across the landing from me, and they had this old Tandy computer out there with some old games on it. And so when it was hot and there was nothing else to do, we would sit in that landing. One person would play the video game until they blew it, usually about half an hour, 45 minutes to a game. The other person would kick back out on the chair that's sitting on the landing from the trash. And then after a while, we'd switch spots and do that. And we'd just sit up there and talk and hang out. And it was kind of a neat little place. Well, come to find out, that chair was kind of famous. And the chair, I'm going to read for you. This is a Charles Green and his brother Henry Green, who are legends of the arts and crafts movement, made these two chairs. And it's I believe it's the Gamble House in California where these chairs were. They were hallway chairs. So there's only two of them, and they are very, very unique. So what happened is that the Huntington Library, which is a museum on its own in Southern California, had one of the chairs. The other chair lost to time. No one ever knew where it was. And then Bob pulls out of the trash this chair, cleans it up, puts it up on his second story until he figures out this is the missing green chair, the matching hallway chair. So when Bob and Arlene started their museum, the main hall, the big hall, presentation hall, I guess, or whatever, a meeting hall, up on the third story rooftop, had its own little section, and that chair sat on a little platform, and it was kind of a cool little thing because now go walking around with the kids up in the museum, and there's a chair. Hey, my butt has sat in that chair. It was kind of cool. So come to find out, after they closed that museum, and that chair was donated over to the Huntington, so now the chairs are finally back together. But for a good long while, that was the property of the Altmans and their museum. It's kind of a cool story. Except that's not the way other people remember it. We've got people that were finding all sorts of different angles to the story. And come to find out, Bob was very, as Shan put it, evasive about how he came to that chair. So I heard that he pulled it out of the street trash in the neighborhood. Jonas is Jenny's husband, heard that he found it in the trash at Space Bank. Someone had thrown it away at Space Bank, the giant mini storage. Let's see, there was also, stories. I mean, there were just all sorts of different ways that Bob found the chair. I'm just kind of wondering if Bob may have bought it at auction and spent more money than he wanted to and just told everybody that he possibly, I have no proof on that one, but that would be a logical reason why the stories are a little vague. Could be. I don't care. The way he told the story was fascinating, and it's a simple story, and yet he would put so much energy that there's no way you could not believe the version you were told. Like I said, Bob, fabulous storyteller. So I think this is like one of the best pranks ever put on a family. Because now you've got everybody sitting around trying to tell this story, and yet nobody's stories are the same. So, Bob Altman, I tip my coffee to you. Brilliant move. Brilliant move. If you are needing to learn how to tell stories, find you a Bob somewhere. Find a Bob and listen to the way they tell their stories. You'll find little gleaming jewels of the way they tell their stories. So what you're going to do, find as many Bobs as you can, collect all the little nuggets you can, and you'll be a great storyteller too. And as far as I'm concerned, this chair that we sat on, this chair that was in museums, this chair that is famous, I like to think that Bob Altman pulled it out of the trash on the street in front of somebody's house. I think that's a brilliant way that story is told. Until the next time, enjoy your coffee. Get back to work. Now, as promised, let's try a different coffee.
So let me tell you this. The reason that I've been chosen to be a part of this coffee experiment, because being a retired military guy, I learned how to like coffee. Black, cold, 3 days old, no water. So I like coffee.
Well, I'm starting out. I hope you like coffee, because that's what we're doing. And Linda, my wife, and I went on vacation. We picked up a whole bunch of different coffees, and every now and then we're going to try a new one. And today we are starting with a coffee that we picked up at the Woola Rock Museum and Wildlife Preserve in Oklahoma. I'll get you a nice close-up here in a minute. But it was an incredible place. If you get a chance to go out there, it's near, what's the town name?
It's not that far from Tulsa.
It's not that far from Tulsa. It's north of Tulsa.
Does it say on the back?
That's what I was going to ask and see if it did. It's Skatuka, Oklahoma, is where the roasters are. And Bartlesville. Wonderful, beautiful, which actually Bartlesville was a fun town. But enough about that. We can talk about vacations on another day.
Sure.
We've just brewed up a pot of this signature coffee from Willow Rock.
Like the color.
It is. It's a blonde coffee. So that means the caffeine should be stronger than normal.
I can smell it from here.
Not bad. Through your hole. It's dead hot.
I'm not offended at all by it.
Has sort of a woodsy taste afterwards, doesn't it? I don't think it's going to be my favorite coffee, but I would never say no to a cup of this.
Well, you know what my favorite kind of coffee is?
The one in your hand,
Free.
free.
Yeah.
This won't be your favorite coffee. You have to pay
I gotta get charged when I leave. Thanks, Bob.
Oh. Now, if you like a light blonde coffee, this is a good blonde coffee. This isn't a decent coffee, but it is from Willow Rock. I would say I would put this as a very good day-to-day coffee. Something that would be a great morning breakfast coffee.
I agree. I agree with that.
Not bad. Plus, it's got a picture of cowboys and horses drinking coffee. How they got that horse to drink some coffee, I don't know, but it's there. All right. Coffee.
Coffee.
All right. Till the next time.